While other sports are America's pastime, football is America's passion. Youth with physical disabilities have that same passion and desire to compete. The American Association of Adapted Sports Programs has created this training video for coaches and players to help them develop skills and strategy for competing in wheelchair football. Every aspect of the game is covered with live action and animation diagrams depicting each player's role in every play. Offensively, you'll see running and passing plays with blocking schemes. Defensively, we'll show you how to line up against the offense and how to blitz the quarterback, and we'll hear from student athletes about their techniques for handling the wheelchair and for passing and catching the football. Eligible participants are boys and girls attending grades 1 through 12, and their primary disability must be physical. They may walk unassisted, with devices, or use manual or power wheelchairs, but all participants must compete in a wheelchair. More than 1.5 million students in the United States with physical disabilities are eligible to compete in sports like these. Here's how this game is played and enjoyed by all participants, coaches, parents, and fans. Wheelchair football is played with 6 to a side, and any athlete can be in a manual or power wheelchair. The game consists of 2 30-minute halves with a running clock. Varsity teams will be under a 35-second play clock, while junior varsity teams have 45 seconds to execute a play. When on offense, the team with the ball has a standard 4 downs to reach a first down or a score. The field of play should be at least a high school gymnasium-sized field. End zones and first down markers are identified by cones on the sidelines. There are 2 fixed first down positions, half the distance between the midcourt and top of each free throw circle on either side of the field of play. The end zone itself starts at the goal line and extends to the end line. The backboard, used for basketball play, serves as the goalposts for points after touchdown and field goals. Anytime the football hits a fixed building structure, play is called dead, and all plays start in the middle of the field. Scoring breaks down like this. Touchdowns count for the standard 6 points. Players in manual chairs score when they break the plane of the goal line when in possession of the ball. Players in power chairs score when one wheel touches or crosses the goal line after contact has been made by the ball itself with the power chair or the athlete. The point after touchdown is kicked when the ball is thrown directly over the basketball backboard. The varsity division will execute the play from the nearest first down line to the end zone. Junior varsity games will attempt the PAT from the top of the free throw circle closest to the end zone. A team can try a 2-point conversion after scoring a touchdown. The ball will be placed at the free throw line nearest the end zone. A field goal is good for 3 points. The conversion is the same as in a point after touchdown, over the backboard. Points can be scored defensively with a safety. That will be worth 2 points. And should a game go to an overtime period, the NCAA overtime rules come into play to decide a winner. The game starts just as every other football game, with a kickoff. All 6 players are poised on opposite end lines, one team throwing to the other. There can be touchbacks if the ball isn't touched if it enters the end zone on the fly, or if it travels through the end zone itself. If the ball lands short of the end zone, it can be returned until the player is tackled. Then, it's time to take the field for offense. The offensive team can line up in any formation as long as there is a minimum of 3 offensive players on the line of scrimmage. It's important the quarterback be an accurate passer. A strong arm can be a good complement to that. The QB has to be able to see the entire field and pass the ball to all types of receivers.
Now let's get into the passing game a little bit. I'm here with my buddy Kenny. First, we're going to talk about the grip. This is a little different than the standard issue football that you might be used to seeing in other places. Since I'm a lefty, I grip it up here on this end. Kenny, go ahead and show them how you grip the thing.
Okay. I'm a righty, so I kind of grip it like this, and it gets me another good spiral. So, yeah, and then I can just aim it and then throw it to get a good spiral.
Now, when it comes to motion, some guys are sidearms, some guys are straight up and down, 12 and 9. You're kind of 3/4, somewhere in between.
Yeah, I'll bring the ball back like this, and then I'll throw it through.
And it's also, the follow-through is really important here just for accuracy's sake.
Yeah, it really is. If I don't follow through, the ball's just gonna go way over the person's head.
Now, if you're following through, you have to counterbalance yourself on the other edge of the chair so you don't have any misdirection.
Right, so I get my left hand and I grip the wheel, and so I have time to throw the ball.
What do you like most about being a quarterback? All quarterbacks like answering this question.
Well, I like being with the team, and it feels good to go.
All right, well, find your receiver. Go ahead and let her rip. Show him how to do it. Grip, cock, follow through, counterbalance, and fire. And I bet he can't do it again. Go for it.
Let's try this again.
All right. Grip,
Bring it
cock.
back.
What do you like most about wheelchair football?
Wheelchair football. Wow. I like going around with all my friends, having fun, and we'll just talk all the way there and non-stop talking.
Definitely sounds like a quarterback in the making. Receivers and how they catch the ball, another vital part of the game. I'm here with Daniel. Daniel, we're going to approach this two separate ways. You're facing the quarterback. Give me a good target here. If you're square to him, go ahead, Kenny. Right into the target line, bring it in, catch it and go. I'll take that off your hands. Now, when you're going long and the quarterback has to hit you on the run, how your hands going when you're sideways and running out. Okay, out that way, go ahead. Kenny, go ahead and hit him on the fly. And that's how it's done.
The first pass pattern to show you is a comeback route. The receiver will travel a set amount of space downfield and turn back toward the quarterback at an angle. The idea there is to give his or her entire chair the space to go between the defensive backs to get the chance to catch the pass. The quarterback may roll out to that same side to allow for more time to complete the pass. The button hook pattern is a version of the comeback route. The only difference between the two is the amount of space the receiver creates at the time the pass is thrown. The comeback requires the wideout to get closer at the time of the catch to the QB than using the hook pattern. All you need to do with the button hook is turn around and face the quarterback. The square out is somewhat similar in design to a comeback, only the direction is different. Where a curl separates the defensive back from the ball by working back to the quarterback, the square out route separates the two by working toward the sidelines. The receiver's chair is still the buffer from an interception. The play designed and called here is more for advancement and yardage rather than a score. The crossing route allows the receiver to cut across the field from one end to the other, bringing the defensive back with them. Once again, the play is more for possession and advancement more than breaking it big. The crossing route can be made at different distances from the line of scrimmage, short range, medium, or long range. Once again, here's a look at the square out route, the receiver working to the sidelines for the possession. This time, let's see the play using a power chair athlete as a receiver. And remember, the play isn't dead until the power chair is touched. Now here's a fly route using the same power chair receiver. The receiver heads straight down the field for the big gain and can even break it for the score. Your power chair players can really become your MVPs. Another couple of pass plays you can use that you can break for big gains. First is the stop and go, and it is what it says. The receiver will slow down or come to a full stop in the chair to bait the defensive back into thinking the pass is one thing when it's really another. The go will, hopefully, put the receiver well behind the D-back. Then there's the bomb. The quarterback will let the ball go and have a receiver underneath for the big yardage all the way downfield. This is one of the more thrilling plays an offense can pull off, not just for themselves, but for all of their fans as well. But for plays like this to work, especially the bomb, you've got to have that wall in front of you. One other pass play that can be used is the slant route. It's similar to a crossing route, but instead of the receiver dragging from one end of the field to the other, the route is carried more at a 45-degree angle away from the line of scrimmage. The receiver cuts the field in half and is usually working with the quarterback in concert to make the play work. So to recap the basic routes that can be run for pass plays, we'll show you 6 with the receiver releasing from the center of the field. Remember, the receiver can execute any of these from the right, center, or left sides of the line of scrimmage. The comeback route sends the receiver downfield to a set distance. He or she turns the chair back toward the quarterback and returns to catch the ball with positive yardage. The crossing route sends more than one receiver into the pass pattern. To create confusion with the defenders, the wideouts will converge on a single point, literally cross paths, and continue. The button hook is similar to the comeback route with one slight difference. Where the comeback involves a pronounced effort to close the distance between receiver and QB, the button hook is a quick turnaround to shield the ball from the defensive back. The slant route sends a receiver into the quarterback's line of sight at an angle. The route can be a sharp angle for a quick pitch and catch, or a deeper angle for a longer pass pattern. Where the comeback and the button hook are routes with loose runs, the square out is a pattern with sharp turns. A completion requires timing between the QB and receiver. Also, the square out is toward the sideline, where the comeback and the button hook are back toward the field of play. And finally, the fly route, or the bomb. The receiver travels down the field as fast as possible, outmaneuvering the defenders for the big gain. This pass requires time for the QB to throw, so pass blocking here is essential for success.
Pass blocking and pass protecting, another big part of wheelchair football. In this case, the red team wants to get to the blue team. So how does the blue team protect their quarterback? What you want to do, first off, you don't want to guard toe plate to toe plate. You turn your wheelchair flat so that way you create a pocket for the quarterback to see his receivers, check his lanes, and to make sure where he can and can't throw the football. I'm going to get out of the way to show you how pass blocking is done.
The running game can be broken down into several plays for the offense to run at any time. The first we'll review is a simple sweep. The play starts with the wide receiver in motion. As the wide receiver approaches the quarterback, the center hikes the ball. By the time the ball is snapped, the wide receiver and the QB should be about 2 chair widths distance from each other for the optimal speed to set up the initial block ahead as the running back follows along. The QB then hands off or tosses the ball to the running back. The running back follows the block of the wide receiver. The play can also be run with motion from one of the eligible backs to create speed and momentum for the offense as they work for a first down. Next up, the misdirection. All the offensive players not getting the ball from the quarterback go one way, the ball carrier goes the other. The hope here is that the blockers will create enough free space for big yardage. Here's your look. Here are a few more running plays for your playbook. The first is a blast. The running back goes through the hole opened by the offensive lineman. The blast is effective when the defensive team is spread out. This run is used primarily for short distance conversions. The reverse is where the QB hands off to the running back moving one way, and then the running back hands off to a receiver heading in the opposite direction. This play should work with an offense with fast receivers. A double reverse will take the idea of a reverse and go one step further, returning the momentum of the play back to its starting point when the ball was snapped. This should work with an offense with 2 fast receivers. And just as in the football you watch on television, every successful score is followed by the conversion attempt. The single point after is considered good if it clears the top of a basketball backboard. Once again, the point after touchdown for the varsity division is executed from the nearest first down line to the end zone. Junior varsity games attempt the PAT from the top of the free throw circle closest to the end zone. A 2-point conversion is done from the free throw line nearest the end zone. To stop all that from happening, here are a few defensive ideas coaches and players can put into their game plans. Defensive formations can look many different ways, but there must be a minimum of 2 players on the line of scrimmage. Any defensive player can cross the line of scrimmage once the ball is snapped. Rushers should come from the outside, while your nose tackle should remain in the middle of the line to prevent any rushing yardage. The defenses can choose to play man-to-man one-on-one or by opting for a zone coverage, choosing to monitor an area instead of a player. Once the basics are mastered, there are a few twists for game plans. The first is a blitz. Normally, defenses will go man-to-man in their ideas to stop scoring, but if you want to gamble and send more than 3 players after the quarterback, here's one way to do it. Remember though, this is only one way of many. It's up to the imaginations of the players and coaches as to how to pressure the quarterback. And if you really want to get fancy, send your defensive players on stunts to try and tie up the offensive blockers. Instead of heading straight to the quarterback, the rushers loop around one another to get everyone thinking in a lot of different directions after the snap. Once again, this is one way of issuing a stunt. It's either rushers crisscrossing to the inside or to the outside after the snap. A player in a manual wheelchair tackles the player with the ball by placing both hands simultaneously on the offensive player's body above the knees. The tackler must stay in the wheelchair at all times. It is illegal to grab the offensive player's wheelchair prior to making the tackle, and excessive force cannot be used. This will result in an unnecessary roughness penalty. Players in the power wheelchairs tackle the offensive player above the knees or on the player's wheelchair itself. Players in power wheelchairs are very valuable. On the offensive side of the ball, they are very useful for pass protecting and blocking. These are very important areas of the game that must be executed properly for the offense to be successful. However, these are not the only ways for power wheelchair players to contribute. Power wheelchair players make excellent receivers.
Slight differences in receiving when it gets to the difference between a manual chair and a power chair. With a power chair, any contact works as a reception. It could be contact with the body at any point, could be contact with the chair at any point, could hit the receiver in the hands and everything's cool. Now, I'm going to have you go out for a long pass and prove the other point. Kenny, go ahead and get ready for this. Go ahead and act like you're going to the end zone for me. Any part of the chair works at any particular time. Front, back, that's a catch.
Power wheelchair users are also effective as running backs. The quarterback can hand off by putting the ball in the lap or by hitting the wheelchair with the ball. After receiving the handoff, the player can once again try to advance the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, power wheelchair users are invaluable as pass rushers. If the defense can rush the quarterback and make them pass the ball before they want to, the defensive team will have the advantage and it will be easier to stop the offense. Coaches must remember to use power wheelchair players in many roles for their team. Wheelchair football is a fast-paced sport that is best played when athletes are in maximum physical condition and at the top of their game in teamwork, strategy, and wheelchair handling skills. Due to the efforts of AAASP and training aids such as this, more than 1.5 million students in the United States with physical disabilities may get the chance to compete in sports like these, playing within the rules, learning the values of teamwork, sportsmanship, and cooperation. We hope this video will help your athletes come off the sidelines into the game.